If you are the one who always gives, always listens, always shows up, always sacrifices, yet you feel invisible, undervalued, exhausted, and quietly resentful, this video will explain exactly why, and more importantly, you were not born believing that being endlessly helpful was noble. You were trained. From the moment you could understand words, society began writing a story inside your mind. Teachers praised the child who shared his toys. Parents admired the one who stayed quiet, obedient, and agreeable. Movies glorified the hero who sacrificed himself for everyone else. Religion sanctified suffering. Culture crowned kindness as the highest form of virtue. And so, before you ever had a chance to think for yourself, the idea was planted. The more you give, the more worthy you are. But no one told you what happens to those who give without limit. Because this belief is not about morality. It is about control. Every civilization teaches this lesson for a reason. A population that believes goodness equals self-sacrifice becomes easier to manage. They work harder, complain less, tolerate more, and question authority less. They confuse endurance with strength. They confuse obedience with honor. They confuse being used with being valued. And once that confusion is complete, they will defend the very system that drains them. You have felt this. You help at work, and the workload grows. You listen to everyone's problems, and your own are dismissed. You show loyalty, and are taken for granted. You give your time, your energy, your emotional labor, your loyalty, your silence, and instead of respect, you receive expectations. Instead of gratitude, you receive dependency. Instead of influence, you receive exhaustion. And still you are told, keep being good. This is the lie of virtue. Because true virtue does not make you smaller. It does not erase you. It does not leave you depleted and invisible. The virtue you were taught is not designed to elevate you. It is designed to make you manageable. Observe the powerful carefully. They praise kindness constantly, yet they do not practice it without calculation. They admire generosity publicly, but privately they reward strength, boundaries, and control. They encourage the masses to be selfless, while they themselves remain strategically selfish. This contradiction is not hypocrisy, it is understanding human nature. People do not respect what costs nothing. People do not protect what is always available. People do not cherish what never withdraws. The more you give without resistance, the more you lower your perceived value. This is not because others are evil, it is because the human mind measures worth through scarcity and cost. When your time, effort, and loyalty are unlimited, they are treated as infinite resources, and infinite resources are consumed without thought. This is the fatal miscalculation of the endlessly helpful. They believe their goodness will be recognized, rewarded, and returned. Instead, it becomes their identity, the reliable one, the nice one, the one who always understands. And identities, once assigned, are difficult to escape. You are no longer seen as a person with boundaries, but as a function, a service, a tool. And tools are not respected, they are used. Notice how the moment you hesitate, the moment you say no, the moment you prioritize yourself, the world reacts with shock, disappointment, guilt, pressure, because you have violated the role they assigned you. You are no longer playing the part that made their lives easier. And so they attempt to pull you back into place with shame disguised as morality. They will say you are changing. They will say you are becoming selfish. They will say you are not the same anymore. What they mean is, you are no longer convenient. The lie of virtue convinces you that suffering makes you pure, that overgiving makes you worthy, that self-neglect makes you admirable. But in the architecture of power, none of this builds authority. It builds vulnerability. Machiavelli warned that those who rely solely on being good will be destroyed among so many who are not good. Not because goodness is wrong, but because goodness without strategy is suicidal. A ruler who gives everything becomes a servant. A leader who pleases everyone commands no one. A man who never protects himself will always be prey. And the most dangerous part of this lie is that it feels noble. It feels like identity, it feels like morality, which makes it harder to abandon, even as it slowly erodes your confidence, your energy, your self-respect, your ambition, and your future. You begin to live for others' comfort. You begin to measure your worth by how much you sacrifice. You begin to feel guilty for wanting more. You begin to apologize for existing. And without realizing it, you surrender the one resource that creates all power, your will. Because the person who cannot say no is not virtuous. They are controlled. And once you understand this, the illusion shatters. Power is a currency, not in coins, not in promises, not in empty words, but in the most tangible, measurable forms: time, attention, energy, commitment, and influence. Everything you give away freely, everything you offer without hesitation, diminishes your stock. And yet, the endlessly helpful believe they are building wealth, emotional wealth, social wealth, moral wealth, while in truth, they are bankrupting themselves. Think carefully. Every favor you grant, every burden you carry for others, every moment you invest in someone who does not reciprocate, you are trading your most valuable resources for nothing. You are making an investment without a return. And in the cruel calculus of human nature, there is no charity without cost. Every resource you spend creates leverage for someone else and leaves you weaker. Observe the world around you. The office worker who always volunteers for overtime is admired in casual conversation but overlooked when promotions come. The friend who always listens without judgment becomes the default therapist but is absent from invitations when favors are due. The generous colleague, the compliant subordinate, the selfless partner, all of them accumulate debt in invisible ways, and that debt is paid in lost influence, missed opportunities, and unnoticed sacrifice. The more you give, the more people assume they are entitled to take. And this is the mechanism of exploitation. It is subtle, it is involved, visible. It is not born of malice, it is born of human calculation. Scarcity creates value. When your time, energy, or attention is limitless, it ceases to be valued. When your loyalty is guaranteed, it ceases to impress. When your generosity is constant, it ceases to be special. Human nature has no respect for the infinite, only for the controlled and the rare. The powerful understand this. The rulers, the leaders, the architects of empires, they do not give indiscriminately. They give selectively. They reward strategically. They withdraw deliberately. Every action is calculated to increase their position, to reinforce their value, to maintain leverage. Generosity becomes a weapon, not a weakness, because it is deployed according to necessity and advantage, not habit or obligation. Those who fail to grasp this, the helpful, are condemned by their own compliance. They offer their resources with the expectation of loyalty, gratitude, or admiration, and when it is not returned in full, they are shocked. They cannot see that the problem was never with the people around them, but with the structure of their own giving. They have been training others in the art of taking, teaching them to exploit, instructing them in entitlement. Each act of free labor, each instance of uncalculated kindness is a lesson in how to use you without consequence. This is the economics of power. It is not fair, it is not moral, it is reality. If you refuse to understand it, you will continue to bleed resources into the pockets of the undeserving. If you internalize it, you begin to reclaim control. You learn that withholding is not cruelty, it is strategy. That saying no is not selfish, it is preserve. That controlling access to your time and energy is not arrogance, it is sovereignty. Every human interaction has an invisible ledger, and every favor, every moment, every effort you provide is an entry. If you do not account for the cost, if you do not demand returns in respect, influence, or reciprocal action, you are the one being bankrupted. Meanwhile, others are compounding their power with every free gift you offer. You are the lender with no repayment, the worker with no wage, the soldier who fights but never commands. Even when the intentions are noble, the consequences are the same. Goodness without calculation, generosity without discretion, and helpfulness without boundaries transform your life into a system of constant debt, and the creditors are everyone around you. Every friend, every colleague, every acquaintance becomes a debtor in an economy you never intended to create, and yet they pay nothing except for the habit of taking. To escape this trap, you must understand that value is not created by giving endlessly. Value is measured in scarcity, in control, in leverage. When you begin to treat your time, your energy, and your loyalty as commodities, you shift the balance. You cease to be a provider of convenience and become a holder of power. And the moment you understand that every act of helpfulness carries a cost, the moment you grasp that generosity without strategy is self-destruction, you begin to reclaim the only wealth that cannot be stolen, the wealth of sovereignty over yourself. world loves the good one. They admire them, they praise them, they smile at them. They call them loyal, kind, selfless, dependable. And yet, paradoxically, this world also consumes them. The good one is the perfect scapegoat, the endless servant, the invisible foundation that supports the weight of everyone else's ambitions. The trap is subtle, almost invisible, because it wears the mask of morality. To be good, to be helpful, to be kind, these are celebrated qualities. But without strategy, without control, without boundaries, goodness is not strength. It is a cage. You recognize this trap in yourself, though you may not have named it. You are the friend who always listens, even when your own voice trembles in silence. You are the colleague who takes the blame, who works overtime without recognition, who absorbs frustration so others appear competent. You are the partner who sacrifices endlessly, who adapts, who forgives, who softens every edge in order to keep the peace. And slowly, imperceptibly, your identity becomes defined not by your capabilities, but by your availability. Not by your strength, but by your submission. Not by your ambition, but by your willingness to carry the weight of others. And here is the cruelty of this trap. You do not realize it is a trap until it is too late. By constantly giving, by always yielding, by perpetually pleasing, you teach those around you the rules of your existence. You demonstrate where your boundaries fail, where your limits are invisible, and where your will is malleable. Others do not exploit you because they are evil. They exploit you because you have trained them to do so. You have constructed your own cage, one bar at a time, by showing that your goodness is limitless and your refusal impossible. Those who are truly powerful understand the dynamics at play here. They know that admiration is not loyalty. Praise does not equal respect. Being liked does not secure influence. The good one is celebrated publicly, but quietly they are manipulated. They are called upon to sacrifice, to forgive, to accommodate, to prioritize everyone else's needs. And the reward they receive is often guilt when they resist, disappointment when they withdraw, and pressure to continue giving when their resources are exhausted. Psychologically, the trap of the good one is devastating. When your value has been tied to your utility, your identity becomes hostage to expectation. Every time you consider asserting your own needs, a voice inside whispers, "You are selfish, you are changing, you are no longer good." And because this voice has been reinforced for years by cultural conditioning, by moral teaching, by the approval of those around you, it is powerful, it's convincing. It convinces you to stay inside the cage you built, even as you feel the bars pressing against your soul. This is the paradox. The better you are, the more useful you are, the more indispensable you appear, the more expendable you become. You are the one who can be counted on, and that reliability becomes a weapon wielded against you. People pull at the strings of your patience, your energy, your forgiveness, and your presence, knowing that you will respond. They have discovered the economics of your compliance. They understand that your help is cheap because you price it too low, that your availability is infinite, that your limits are elastic. Escaping the trap of the good one requires recognition first. You must see the invisible cage you inhabit. You must acknowledge that your identity has been hollowed out by habit and expectation. You must admit that the kindness you believe is strength has been turned into leverage by everyone who surrounds you. Once you see this, you begin the next, more dangerous step, reclaiming your selfhood, asserting boundaries, refusing when necessary, and rediscovering that goodness, when controlled, becomes a tool rather than a trap. Until this recognition occurs, the good one will continue to bleed. They will continue to serve, they will continue to sacrifice, and each act of generosity, no matter how noble in intention, will further entrench them in the invisible cage that the world has patiently constructed around their kindness. Power is not given, it is taken, it is maintained, and it is preserved by those who understand the rules that others do not see. The moment you recognize that your endless helpfulness has made you weak, expendable, and vulnerable, you stand at the threshold of transformation. This is the sovereign shift, the deliberate transition from being a perpetual servant to becoming the master of your own influence, the ruler of your own energy, the architect of your own respect. It is not a gentle process because power is never gentle. It requires calculation, patience, and the courage to defy expectation. To achieve this, you must first understand the principle of selective kindness. Generosity, when wielded without thought, is weakness. Generosity, when wielded strategically, is a weapon. You do not abandon your goodness, but you govern it. You decide who receives it, when it is given, and under what conditions. You no longer operate under the illusion that every act of help must be reciprocated in gratitude or affection. Instead, you understand that the act itself carries value. It signals authority, establishes boundaries, and communicates worth. The rare, deliberate gift always commands respect. The constant, unmeasured gift always invites exploitation. Control is the next pillar of sovereignty. Those who are endlessly available are powerless because their absence carries no consequence. When you establish limits, when you withdraw your attention, your energy, or your support, you communicate a truth that cannot be ignored. You are not a resource to be consumed at will. Absence creates scarcity, and scarcity breeds value. The world respects what is difficult to obtain. It honors what is earned, and it fears what cannot be manipulated. By mastering controlled distance, you reclaim the balance of leverage that has long been stolen from you. Strategic refusal is equally essential. The power to say no is the power to shape the world according to your own terms. When you refuse selectively, when you deny requests that drain you or diminish your authority, you send a message that you are not subject to every demand, every expectation, every desire imposed upon you. People are accustomed to submission, to compliance, to limitless giving. Your refusal is shocking, unsettling, and profoundly influential. It forces recognition, it enforces boundaries, it signals sovereignty. This shift does not occur in isolation. It interacts with human psychology. People have been trained to respond to scarcity, to respect authority, and to follow those who demonstrate control. By altering how you engage with your own resources, time, energy, attention, loyalty, you trigger a fundamental recalibration in the minds of those around you. They begin to perceive you not as a tool, not as a servant, not as a convenience, but as a force. They learn that your goodwill is not automatic, your loyalty is not guaranteed, and your presence is not disposable. They understand, consciously or not, that power now resides within you, and that access to it requires recognition, negotiation, or merit. Even the act of withdrawing becomes a tool of influence. Absence is not punishment, it is strategy. The one who disappears is remembered. The one whose attention is rare is desired. The one whose energy is selective is valued. Those who once pulled at you without consequence now encounter resistance, and resistance demands respect. Every act of self-preservation is an assertion of authority. Every refusal is a claim of territory. Every strategic withdrawal is an investment in influence. Finally, the sovereign shift requires the integration of morality and strategy. You are not abandoning virtue, you are transforming it into power. Controlled generosity, deliberate presence, selective attention, and strategic refusal are not cruel acts. They are rational responses to a world that has learned to exploit the endlessly helpful. By mastering them, you achieve something few understand: the ability to be good on your own terms, to act in alignment with your values while simultaneously commanding respect and authority, to cultivate loyalty without sacrificing freedom, to exercise influence without losing independence. The transition is neither easy nor instantaneous. It challenges old identities, confronts ingrained habits, and resists societal expectations. Every act of self-assertion is accompanied by internal conflict, and every boundary you set will provoke resistance from those accustomed to your submission. But through this disciplined, deliberate transformation, you reclaim the most fundamental resource of all, yourself. You move from being the good one who is consumed to the sovereign who is respected, from the helper who is trapped to the strategist who commands, from the expendable to the untouchable, from the follower to the master. The path of endless helpfulness is a trap disguised as virtue. For too long, you have been taught that giving, sacrificing, and accommodating are signs of strength. You have been conditioned to believe that your worth is measured by how much you serve others, how much you tolerate, and how much you give without expectation. But history, human nature, and the laws of power tell a different story. The helpful are not honored, they are used. The generous are not admired, they are exploited. The good are not celebrated, they are trapped. True power does not come from endless giving, it comes from mastery over self, control over resources, and understanding the invisible economy of influence. By recognizing the lie of virtue, understanding the economics of power, seeing the trap of the good one, and embracing the sovereign shift, you reclaim what was always yours: authority, respect, and freedom. Goodness is not abandoned, it is governed. Kindness is not weakness, it is weaponized. Generosity is not infinite, it is strategic. From this moment, every choice, every act of help, every gesture of support becomes deliberate. You no longer exist to fill the expectations of others. You exist to assert your presence, to maintain your leverage, and to command the respect that is rightly yours. The world may resist, the world may protest, and the world may test you, but the sovereign does not bend. The sovereign does not crumble. The sovereign acts with intention, influence, and undeniable power. Escape the goodness trap, break the chains of obligation disguised as virtue, and step into the authority that was always within your grasp. Power, respect, and freedom are not rewards. They are the natural consequence of understanding the rules that govern human behavior, and refusing to be a pawn in a system that profits from your compliance. The choice is yours. Remain the endlessly helpful, endlessly consumed, endlessly trapped, or rise as the master of your own fate, the architect of your own influence, and the sovereign of your own life.